them. Oh, say does that star land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you to all our armed service members who give and sacrifice so much for our freedom. God bless you, and thank you for listening to KMXC Des Moines, Mixed Country 106. It's a conversation heard in every honky-tonk bar in America. The pinnacle of BS you have with your buddies. Conversations so outlandish and absurd that the honky-tonk bars all around America are the only places where these conversations can be had with a pure lack of any political correctness.
But that don't change the truth none. There's right and there's wrong. You gotta do one or the other.
That's right. It's time for Honky Tonk Saturday's Bar Talk Happy Hour. And now, your host, producer Raven and Odie Coyote.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Mixed Country 106 and Honky Tonk Saturdays. Hope you guys are having a fantastic night on this beautiful 4th of July Independence Day. If you hadn't seen the social media post, I got a surprise for you guys. We're not only launching a new show that is a brand new to us, but we're going to have the gentleman behind it, Mr. Mike Bilansky, as well as the Dance Time in Texas show that we're going to be premiering later on at the beginning of August. But we thought we would have him on tonight and be able to introduce him to all of you and get to know him a little bit. And he's got some fantastic stories. This guy's been around for ages doing country music, doing DJing all over, and you're not going to believe this. Not to spoil it, but he's got a cool Toby Keith story. Just saying. All right, folks, stick around. If you got a request, hit us up, mixcountry106.com. You can send a dedication to us. Also, hit us up on all of our social media platforms, facebook.com/mixcountry106. All right, folks, let's get on with it. It's the Bar Talk Happy Hour on Mixed Country 106.
Mixed Country 106 proudly presents our Honky Tonk Saturdays feature show, the Bar Talk Happy Hour with Odie Coyote and producer Raven. Get those song requests in to us at mixcountry106.com, and on all our social platforms, send a song request to @mixcountry106. All right, folks, it's time to belly up to the Bar Talk Happy Hour, starting right now on KMXC Des Moines, Mixed Country.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? Soda Coyote here. We are already doing this thing. I hope you guys are having a good night. We are here live on the live stream for you guys. And I'm ready to have a blast. I got producer Raven in here, and it's going to take a lot tonight because she is absolutely busting her tail, getting all my notes ready, everything we need to know. But I got another gentleman here that I really want to introduce you guys to. His name is Mr. Mike Bilansky, and he is the host of Dance Time in Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Mike Bilansky. How you doing today, Mike?
Doing great, man. I'm excited to be on your show. This is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, I'm absolutely happy to see you, too. And give me a hot second here. Might help if I hit the right button, wouldn't it? There we go. There you go. Technology and me. It's been forever and a day since I've actually had a live guest. Most of the time for interviews, we're doing them recorded. So I spent a few hours earlier today. I was trying to make sure, like, all the audio and all that. And inevitably, it's never quite as smooth as I would like it to be. But you know what? We're here. We're doing it. You and I have had some amazing conversations on the phone already. I think my wife would probably call it an unhealthy amount of time for two guys just talking about radio. But yeah, it's been amazing to hear your stories. And first question I just had for you is, where did Dance Time in Texas even come from? We'll talk about the show in a little bit, but I kind of want to know before that kind of the history behind it.
Well, for years and years and years, I was a dance hall DJ, not really radio. And so I played the music and packed the dance floors. And I was at a bar called Big Texas Dance Hall and Saloon in Spring, Texas. And I was also known as DJ Mike on 93Q, and it was Saturday Night Live. And I got to play some of the Texas artists. And one day I went into work, and they said, we're making a change, and you're it. So they fired me. And so I walked to my truck, and I sat in the driver's seat, and I said, Lord, what am I going to do now? And I pressed scan on the radio, and the next thing I hear is, you ever want to do your own podcast or radio show, contact us at Lone Star Community Radio in Conroe. I don't get 93Q in Houston. I don't get any of the big boys, just that. And I sat back and I said, man, if that wasn't a message from up above, well, before I did that, I went to the local radio station up here in Conroe and said, hey, you guys hiring a DJ? And they go, yeah, but you're not a radio DJ, you're a nightclub guy. Ooh. So the next day I went to the community radio station and I told them my idea that I wanted to do a weekly countdown, but not based off of radio songs, but what was packing the dance floors in the dance halls, based off of the Texas Country Music Chart and CDX Nashville Traction Texas charts. And so when I first did it, I just did the top 10 based off of the charts, and I kind of made up stories as I went. And as it evolved, I started thinking, well, maybe I can do an interview. And then 60 days after that, I got picked up by Troubadour Country Radio, which is a great station out of Waco. And then I got picked up by a couple more stations. And 6 months after that, I ended up being on 30 stations, and I didn't know what I was doing. But I then got nominated for Top Broadcast Personality of the Year, which by the Texas Country Music Association, and I appreciated it. And then I went back to that station and I said, how about now? And they go, no, you'll play too much Texas music. And I said, well, now here we are today, and Dance Time in Texas has been nominated Syndicated Radio Show of the Year by the Texas Country Music Association, and currently on 140 stations in the U.S. and in Europe. So that's the story about Dance Time in Texas.
That's amazing. And we're going to talk a little bit about this on air too. So, but I thought I'd give our live stream folks just a little bit of a heads up here. So Mike, for you, most of our fans know this, but this is for the fans too, who are maybe new, maybe just tuning in because you heard that we're going to have Mike Bilansky on tonight. The way we do this live stream, it's a once a month deal. We always do it the first Saturday of every month, which so happen to be on the 4th of July weekend, or the weekend we use. I guess we're celebrating 4th of July this weekend. It's weird because when the 4th is basically almost in the middle of the week on Tuesday, it gets a little weird. Like, well, is this the 4th of July weekend that we're calling it, or is it the next weekend? But I'm calling it this weekend. You guys can, where you're at, pick for yourself. But either way, it's awesome. But what we do here is on the live stream is we give you a little behind the scenes look. A lot of times we show you our log, we show you what we're playing, we show you what we're doing. But it's really just the raw look behind radio and what we do in between breaks and all the work that kind of goes into it. We've had so many people ask us about the software and things like that. Well, when we do have live guests, there's conversation that happens between the guests and the hosts in between that you guys don't necessarily get to hear on air because we try to, on air, have the most polished look. But this is also a chance for you guys in the chats. Producer Raven's going to be off to the side here monitoring those. If you got a question for Mike, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer some questions for you guys about radio, about his show, just anything about him in general. Mike, real quick, how many stations are you on right now with Dance Time in Texas?
About 140 in America and in Europe.
140. So we're the 141st, or we are the 140th station to be added now? What do you think?
I don't know. I stopped counting.
You stopped counting. You just can't count.
They just come and say, "Hey, can we add your show?" I go, "Okay, sure. When do you want to play it? Whenever you want to play it, I don't care. It's fine. Thanks for supporting Texas music, and like I say, thanks for supporting Texas music. I'll see you out on the dance floor." So
I love it. I think it's fantastic. So
I don't, to me, I'm thrilled. Absolutely. As you can see, I'm in my guest bedroom, and the reason behind that is though it's really unprofessional, I live on Lake Conroe, and there's a big lake party going on right now at the dam. And speaking of, the only way to get to this concert on the dam is by boat. And they've got Peyton Howie, and they've got the Chad Cook band, and it's going to be going on all night. And
so what are you doing here?
I'm hanging out with you because anyway, so long story short, I'm in this downstairs bedroom because last summer we had a hurricane, and so I had to do home repairs because I'm on the lake house, and I never moved the office back upstairs yet. So I'm using one of my other bedrooms as just a mock studio. And this back here, that's a computer that I have a TV channel now that I do too as well, that I launched about a year and a half ago. It's called Stars Over Texas TV, and it's like MTV but for Texas Red music, and it's available on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV.
Beautiful. I, and I know you asked this too. We will do a liner for Stars Over Texas, and looking forward to that. Real quick before I forget, producer Raven, can you please be in my ear and let me know? Make sure I don't miss our next talk break. Should be in about like less than 5 minutes. It looks like. Well,
Yes.
hang on. Let me swap that over. There we go. There we go.
Right after
that's
this
wrong.
song.
It says my next stop marker is in 5 minutes, but I know it's not. It's actually going to be in less than 3. Or maybe it's not. Oh, yeah, it is 5. Sorry, guys. So this is the part of it, too. I got to kind of keep time. So, yeah, Raven, can you let me know? Because at the end of the song, we go, okay?
Yes.
All right. She should be able to hear me. I think I can hear. Hold on.
You never did a mic check on me.
All right. All right, guys. So I'm just double checking here, make sure I got my notes in. Just refreshing here. We actually do script some of this, guys. I haven't shown you guys this, but we're using a new software to okay. Yeah, thank you for the reminder on that too. I saw the note. We're got a new chart that we are publishing. Not really an official chart, but we'll talk a little bit about that coming up here. Don't want to take too much attention away from Mike because I'm super excited and happy that he's here with us. But right now we got some Alan Jackson happening where I come from. And it's that live one that he did out in Dallas, early 2000s, and he made an album off it. Mike, are you familiar with that one? Where he did it with
Actually,
George?
I was playing that song back in the 90s. And when it first came out, I thought it was a remake of the McAnally back where I come from, but it wasn't. But it's Alan Jackson in the 90s that's the iconic sound that's coming back today.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I love about it. I thought this is the album that they did. It was the live album, and it had George Strait, Jimmy Buffett, and Alan Jackson. And they did it in Dallas. And I guess I'm probably off on the date, but there was an album that they did, and it was just like a whole live thing. But yeah, that's what we're playing right now. And but here we go. Got 2 minutes and 40 seconds here. So let's see. Mike, is there anything specific that you wanted to make sure I hit off here when this is our main feature segment. This is about our 4-minute length one.
We can just talk about the radio show and Texas music and some of the artists and talk about stories. And we could talk about if they want to see the music videos, Stars Over Texas TV, where to find that.
Stars Over Texas. Let me get that noted real quick so I don't forget. All right, cool. Oh, Raven, if you do see something in chat by chance, not really expecting much, but if you see something, say something. All right. Okay. Minute 45. All right. I think I'll wait on that Toby Keith one. Ask you about that. I'm gonna wait a little bit later on and ask you about that. So,
I mean, I can tell you stories about when I interview some of the artists, some of the fun stuff, like anybody ever made them bust out laughing in the middle of a song or forget their words?
Yeah, I remember that. That would be a good one.
We talked about McBride. Terry McBride from McBride and the Ride.
Yeah, the Terry McBride. Yep, that works. Yeah. Okay. Yep. the song literally for the live has about a minute outro to it.
Yeah.
So we'll
I
probably
never,
we'll probably cut in a little early on it.
I never really played a lot of the live cuts in the nightclubs just because of the sound quality, you know?
Right. Yeah,
Playing
in
the-
a live situation it doesn't sound good, but obviously I'm playing, the album of it, and that's something we do on Honky Tonk Saturdays. I love playing the live stuff. I've got a ton of live Wade Bowen stuff. All right, here we go. 20 seconds. Mixed Country 106, Honky Tonk Saturdays. Odie County here with you guys. I hope you guys are having a great night. We've been chatting on our live stream with Mr. Mike Bilansky, the host of Dance Time in Texas and Stars Over Texas TV. And we're going to talk to him now about both of those shows. This whole live stream this week, we're not really doing our usual typical news or feature article, if you will, because our feature is Mr. Mike Bilansky. So, Mike, we've been chatting over there. We were talking about some of the stories that you and I had talked about, but we didn't want to share too soon. I was curious. You had a situation with Terry McBride and some messed up lyrics. Is that right?
Well, when I do the show Dance Time in Texas, I basically will talk about the new music and stuff like that. And one of the questions I'd like to ask is, has anybody ever done anything to make you bust out laughing or forget the words of your song? And I had Terry McBride on the show a while back, and we were talking about when he did shows in the 90s, and he would play this one club all the time. And this girl that had a crush on him would always come up to the stage, and right in the middle of a song, she would flash him. And of course, he'd bust out laughing and get distracted. Well, 30 years later, he comes back with this new song, and he happens to hit this little bar again. And lo and behold, the same girl from 30 years ago comes up to the stage and flashed him again. I said, Terry, how'd that work out for you? He goes, it just wasn't the same.
Just wasn't the same. 30 years go by, things tend to sag a little bit more. I had that discussion with my wife once. I said, because there was a period of my life I was thinking, like, I wonder if I became a singer and, if I had girls around me or whatever, and I wonder how my wife would take it. And we had this discussion, and long story short, she said she'd be fine with it because she knows that she trusts me and we have a good marriage and everything. But I gotta wonder if Terry McBride's wife or, that were there at the show and what that reaction must have been like. I always think about it from a third person kind of thing when I ask questions, because it's almost funnier when you think about from the fly on the wall perspective. In the moment, though, it's really exciting, really fun. But I gotta wonder if we could ask Terry if his wife happened to be there and what she thinks of all that.
She'd probably shake her head. I mean, there was a time that John Stork was on stage, and girls are the strangest things when you add alcohol and performers.
Mm-hmm.
And this one girl threw her panties on stage, and the band thought it'd be fun to take the panties and hide it in the van because John Stork's wife always cleaned out the van whenever they got off the road. And so, as the story goes, one of the band members wrote a phone number and lipstick on the panties and put it behind one of the bench seats. Haley goes to cleaning out the van, finds these panties, and she says, John, what's this all about? And she holds up these panties, and they go from this wide to this wide. And that's when she knew it was a joke. But John was sweating because he didn't realize they were panties, much less how big they were.
Those weren't panties, that was a parachute.
Yeah. I've got stories.
Well, let's hear another one. We'll talk about the Toby Keith one. I don't want to spoil that one because that one's a good one.
Well, let's tease him a little bit.
All right.
It also involves Shania Twain.
That don't impress me. Sorry, I'll stop.
It will. Because there was a third member on that tour too. We'll leave that alone. We'll come back to that. But
okay.
So basically, everybody just calls me DJ Mike now.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s and 90s, I had the DJ name of Bebo, B-E-B-O. I was a little long-haired outlaw, and I used to ride my horse to the bar, and I got my nickname Bebo on a dare. It was on a Sunday night in Fort Worth, and we were at the Cadillac in the stockyards, and me and my rodeo buddies, we went downstairs in the basement, and they had another bar, and basically they dared me to dance on the bar, and I got drunk, and I did, and I kind of got the nickname Debo, and then after that, Debo got dared to do everything. But I ended up in Montana for 20 years, and Bebo just got a little bit wilder and wilder and wilder. And then when I said, I'm coming back to Texas, I better leave Bebo in the mountains of Montana. So
Bebo.
I rebranded myself as DJ Mike, a little bit older, a little bit more mellow, and
Yeah.
not to get in as much trouble anymore.
What is it kind of like as you've gone through, you know, the decades now of, you know, experience and everything? What's that like for you at this point in your life, just continuing this like dance hall type show, but also trying to be current, trying to, you know, maybe attract, you know, a younger generation even in, because I mean, it's kind of goes in that cycle, you know what I mean?
There's a big difference between dance hall DJs and radio DJs. In radio, you got to talk, you got to be sharp, you got to be able to have a conversation.
So everything I'm
But when
not.
you're in the nightclubs, you got to be able to throw a party. You got to be a little bit on edge, and you got to be an instigator. I mean,
Yeah.
before there was Coyote Ugly, there was me at the Wild West in Houston, and I would after midnight, I'd say every girl dance on the bar get a free shot, and it was about throwing a party.
Oh yeah.
Going through the decades between the 80s and the 90s and today, the frustrating part with the country music industry was when they got away from the dance aspect of it, and they got away from the cowboy, and they got away from the roots of the music. And I got frustrated with Nashville music when they started playing who's that guy? Old Town Road with Lil Nas.
Lil Nas X, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, when that became Song of the Year, I said, I'm done. I am done with Nashville country. And I started jumping more into the Texas music scene. And this is before Cody Johnson hit it and before Josh Ward. In 90s, and it's funny, Texas country was, and Red Dirt, which I want to talk about Red Dirt and what the difference is in a minute too, was more about the college band bars. I mean, the college bar, but the bands that played the college bars.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't getting played on radio. So when you're in a college town and you're playing a bar, you're throwing a party. It's like in the 90s, Corey Morrow went to Nashville, and he had his hat and his belt buckle and his guitar. And they said, man, you're just not what we're looking for. So he came back to Texas. He went to Lubbock, where he ended up meeting a guy named Pat Green, and he wrote one of his first songs called Nashville Blues. And Pat Green and him in the early 90s decided, we're just going to do our own thing and play the college bars. We don't need Nashville. We don't need radio. We're just going to live on the stages. And a little bit of history before that, in the 80s, Texas music was considered Jerry Jeff Walker, Billy Joe Shaver, and Gene Watson, Mickey Gilley, Johnny Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the 90s, it evolved into that. And Red Dirt music, give you a little bit of history about that. The Red Dirt music scene started with these bands that would play at the colleges in Oklahoma City, and they would travel to Lubbock, and they would travel to Fort Worth, and they traveled to Amarillo. And being called a Red Dirt band was kind of derogatory because that'd be kind of calling the country singer a hillbilly back then.
Mm.
But what happened is, as they would travel around these towns in North Texas and Oklahoma in their vans, the red dirt from the roads would splash up on the vans, and that's how they became known as the Red Dirt Bands. And today, it's just created its own nostalgic in its sound. It's a badge of honor. So, for example, Texas country is going to be like Cody Johnson, Josh Ward. Mm-hmm. You're going to have Aaron Watson. Red Dirt's going to be kind of like Stoney LaRue, Cross Canadian Ragweed, maybe Whiskey Myers. And then the new style that's coming out is Americana, which is going to be like Tyler Childers and Zach Bryan, which is that more rootsy feel maybe out of Colorado and a couple around your part area. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of a mix of it.
And as you say that, because I had always I had to do this a little bit too. I had not heard about it being about the Vans. I do recall when I was kind of looking into this, like where our genre is on our station. I definitely think, if we're based off your definition between the two, I definitely think we're more Texas than we are than the red dirt scene. But man, we definitely have some artists that kind of blur that. I'll have to go through here, but we also do this thing with like new crop country. We take artists that are up and coming, on that Texas chart, and we try to promote them. A good example of that was Kylie Frey. She would definitely, I think, be more Texas, but sometimes
well, she's actually Louisiana. She's a rodeo queen from Louisiana.
But she fits into that like Texas style, I guess, if you will. It doesn't. She doesn't have that like necessarily that grassroots. I mean, her first song that I got introduced to her was "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." That cover that she did.
You need to go back. I mean, you need to check out "Horses in Heaven." She's got the new one. Now I'm brain dead.
Please go back to the music.
But she's more country western cowboy, like Bree Bagwell.
Mm-hmm.
But Kylie Frey, she's got the new song out called "Red Dirt Cinderella."
Right, yeah, Red Dirt Cinderella. Yep. And we've been playing that one too on our station. Mike, I tell you what, we're gonna catch up here and a little bit more on our break. If you guys want to hear more about the difference in Texas and Red Dirt and all the great stories that Mike has, please feel free to get us on our live stream. You can get over to it at facebook.com and at youtube.com at KMXC. All right, guys, got more music on the way happening now. We're gonna be doing some more. I'm gonna see if Mike wants to give me a thumbs up or thumbs down on these artists here. I imagine he'll give them all thumbs up. But here we go. Mike, what do you think about Kevin Fowler Band? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Good. Okay. What do you think about Casey Donahue? 2 thumbs up. Love it. And what do you think about Wade Bowen and Adam Hood together?
I haven't heard them. I'll hear it.
All right. Well, coming up now, right here, we're actually going to go to, we're going to do a little bit of George Strait or not George Strait, excuse me, Earl Dibbles Jr. with Granger Smith. Now, Granger Smith, this one might be a discussion to have because I don't know what to classify him. He never makes the Texas charts, but yet he is basically born and bred in Texas. And I credit Granger for introducing me to other artists. So what do you think about Granger Smith?
Granger Smith would be a staple in the Texas music scene. Just because he's not on the charts doesn't mean he's not one of the good guys on the Texas scene. He's the guy that him, Casey Donahue are must-haves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never seen Earl Dibbles Jr., you need to.
Yes. So many kids love to do the overalls with the one strap missing and the white T-shirt. It's a whole thing. You guys go check it out. He's on his last tour because he's retiring to go into church ministry. And so if you haven't already, hopefully I'm sure by now all the shows have sold out because he's going to be quitting, I think, after the summer to go do the church ministry and serve God and all that. But he is, since I think he got started in like 1998, and he was doing classic Texas art or Texas music there. I'll have to pull some of his old stuff out. But right now, let's do it. It's a hot one. It's called Holler right here on Mixed Country 106 and Honky Tonk Saturdays. All right. We're good.
So speaking of Granger, he's a couple of his songs that are older that are really good. Oh Tonight, which he did with Josh Abbott. No, he's actually in the music video with Josh Abbott and Casey Donahue, and it's not Casey. He's in the music video with Josh Abbott, Casey Musgraves, and his wife. Oh Tonight. But Granger's got Backroad Song. He's got Bury Me in My Jeans.
Yep.
Great stuff. But then there's Earl Dibbles Jr., Country Boy Love and Country Boy Song.
Yep.
And the music videos are amazing.
They are, but the style of music, I struggle to kind of associate it with Texas. It definitely has more pop pop influence, this like big band type sound. It's not quite so much country roots, but there are songs that he's got going on. I'm going to pull something up here real quick, and then I'm going to switch this over to our music log so you guys can see what I'm seeing here. So take a look at this. So this is where we have like our music and all that. I'm just going to do a big thing for Granger. So of course they have Country Boy Love, Four Wheel Drive, Round the Sun, every one of these. And this is just the first page too.
Yeah.
But we have pretty much almost every Granger Smith song. I'm trying to think, because we play a lot of like the America, Country Boy Love, you know, things like that on Honky Tonk Saturdays. I am.
Now, Country Boy Love, I wouldn't really call it Texas country.
Yeah.
I have a term that I kind of started 20 years ago, and I call it hick hop.
Yep. Yeah, you got because it sort of starts to go and blend a little bit with what's his name? Something Church, not Eric Church or anything like that, but like something Church, and I can't think of it. But think like guys too, like Colt Ford, like kind of this rap pop, sort of R&B sort of sound. He kind of starts blending in with that a little bit.
The Moonshine Bandits, Colt Ford, Bubba Sparks, hick hop.
Yep.
Cowboy Troy, hick hop.
Here's the song that I was thinking about too. Yeah, hick hop and Chase Chicken with the Train, something like that. Play Chicken with the Train. Yeah. There you go. Play. But the one song that I remember, one of his older ones, As It Is in Texas, that one's a good one. Are you back to Granger Smith? Are you familiar with that one? Because that's one of his older ones.
No, I like the Backroads song.
Oh yeah, Backroads. Yep. Yeah, let's see. I'll have to kind of look at that one. Backroad. See if I've got that.
Any more for the nostalgic for the older ones? I'm digging more back now onto Cody Jinks and Stoney LaRue. Stuff like that. Older ones.
Yep. I tell you, there's a girl too that I fell in love with. I love Sunny Sweeney. I just love her voice. It's not. It's very much twangy, very very thick twang in her. But I just love it. Please Be San Antone. That's probably my all-time favorite.
Well, have you heard the one From a Table Away?
Yes. Yep. We played that one too.
She's actually in a duet with this week's featured artist, Remy May. And the new song out that I'm featuring on the show this week, I have to get my notes out. For some reason I can't remember everything like I used to.
The Washing Machine? Are you talking about? No, that's with Cody Canada.
No. The Washing Machine was Cody. No, it's called Classic Kind of Thing. And it starts off where they talk about getting dressed up and getting ready to go out on a night on the town. And all of a sudden you start putting vinyl records on and hearing the old nostalgic music like Blue Eyes Kind in the Rain. Yeah. And one thing leads to another and you never leave the house.
Love it. Oh.
And that's the song with Remy May for this week.
Let's go check that out, folks. I'm sure it's everywhere. I get a lot of flack too. I find it easier to find new music, like stuff that we need for the station and stuff. Checking it out on YouTube Music. Now I know artists love Spotify, so I guess I'll ask you this here, kind of a change in direction here. So, where are you kind of finding that the artists that you're kind of around tend to gravitate towards as far as their music distribution? Are they embracing YouTube Music, or are most of them still heavily like invested, do you think, in the Spotify world?
It depends on who their promoter is and how they're trying to get monetization for it. But after it's been out on it, some of them will do YouTube because YouTube's finally made it where they can collect royalties and you can't rebroadcast and stuff.
Yep.
Some do Spotify, some do CD Baby, some do CDX for distribution. Yep. As for me getting new music, they actually contact me or their promoters will contact me. Yeah. Or when I'm looking at the charts, I'll look far enough around who's dropping new stuff. and who's releasing it. And then I'll go and listen. And again, not everything that's new will I play because it's got to be, you got to dance to it. There's been some songs from William Clark Green that I liked, but I couldn't play because it didn't translate well to the dance floor.
And that's something I thought about too. Like, okay, so this Honky Tonk Saturdays, we only really wanted to play like really up-tempo music, and we're doing it from 5 p.m. till 3 a.m., and I never want to have the same song twice. I think we're up to like almost 300 tracks that we're rotating in this category right now. And so let me ask you this. Do you have like a BPM, or is there a certain like characteristic that you look for when you're thinking about dance hall music or things that people are going to want to, at least get their boots tapping to?
Okay, well, let's talk dancing. Outside of Texas, line dancing is going stupid again. And originally in Texas, line dancing started because it gave girls who weren't getting asked to dance a chance to dance. And now it's like in Texas, we like to hold our women when we dance, or partner, to be politically correct.
I suppose. Yeah.
But you've got the slow dance, you've got the waltz, you've got the two-step, you got the polka, you got the shuffle. And even in Texas, I could play a song. The ideal beat range, now most artists don't think BPMs, they just get up there and play the song. But Neon Moon was never intended to be a radio song. It was on the flip side of My Next Broken Heart. But it was 103 beats per minute. So ideally, anywhere from 100 to 115 beats per minute is a really comfortable step. It's not too fast, it's not too slow. So songs like Neon Moon, songs by Josh Turner, Your Man, songs like Oklahoma Breakdown by Stoney LaRue, Head Over Boots by John Pardee. And then if you go to the 99, you got Half a Song by Cody Johnson, Kiss Me in the Dark, Randy Rogers Band, 108 beats per minute. So it's just in Houston, they might do a slow polka. In Fort Worth, they might do a shuffle. In San Antonio, they might have a little hop. And then when you get to the college towns like Austin, the college kids just one step to everything. So it's whatever regional they dance to. And so I look at the energy level. And so when I format my music, I might do an 8-song set. I'll start off with a slow song. And then depending if it's an older crowd, early in the night, I might play a waltz. And then I might come out with a slower shuffle type song. And then I might go to a solid 2-step, like I might do Conway Twitty, Just Love to Lay You Down. Or I might play something like Ride With Me by Cody Johnson at about 95 beats per minute. Or I might play the Bart Crow song, Wear My Ring, 95 beats per minute. And then I go up to the fast polkas and I do some line dances and then I'm back again. So formatting music, I would always try to rotate the dance floor. So to answer your question, the ideal beat range that I look for is about 99 to 115 beats per minute.
Wow. Okay. So 99 in that. Okay. I guess I have this idea like, yeah, you want to have that like 2-step sound, but I also kind of feel like it's almost like a lot of people kind of want that sort of rock sound. Like right now I'm playing, Mystery of a Woman by Wade Bowen and doing the live cut of it. It's rocking. It's just one of those, like, you just kind of want to bob your head to. I don't know if I would call this a dancing song, but it's definitely like up tempo. Would you consider a song like Mystery of a Woman to be something you would play in a dance like environment, or just a up tempo concert, or not concert, but a DJ set for you?
If I'm in a dive bar early in the night and they're not ready to dance, but I need to bump the room and get them dancing or bobbing in place, yes. But once I'm ready to get them dancing, I want to stick to the more traditional, easier dances and the highly recognized songs. The Wade Bowen Mystery of a Woman, it's more of a radio cut, more of a random song. In the Wade Bowen era, I might play Trouble. I might play Mood Ring. Okay. I might play, his new one, The Phones Don't Work. Or Everywhere Is Your Memory. Again, depending on the song and the dance beat, earlier in the night, just to get the bump in the room going, yeah. And again, also, the other thing about the nightclub, early in the night, it's going to be an older crowd.
I got a butt in here at 20 seconds here for our next break. So, and, oh yeah. Here we go. Mixed Country 106, Honky Tonk Saturdays. Odie Coyote here, hanging out with you guys. Hope you guys are having a great night. I've been chatting, and we've been running long. I have a feeling Raven and I have been working hard. We've been trying to get our show formatted, but I'm getting so much awesome stories and stuff, and I'm learning so much about dancehall music with Mike Bilansky here on the stream with us. If you're over on Facebook and YouTube, but on air, we've been trying to give you guys a little bit of a taste because we're launching his show that he's been doing forever and a day. We're happy to join his a list of more than 140 stations probably by now, and it's kind of dance time in Texas, and we're going to be airing that beginning on August the 4th, and that's going to start at 5 p.m. Central, and then on Saturdays we'll do it at 5 p.m. Central as well. So we're going to air it twice. That's all happening beginning on August 4th and 5th. Coming up for you guys, but we've been trying to promote it now. I've been getting to know Mike and learning a lot from him as a young, well, I wouldn't call myself young, but certainly Mike's more seasoned than I am. So,
You ever rode your horse to a bar?
Nope, can't say I ever have.
Guilty.
All right, let's talk about this. We know the show's coming up. It's a countdown type show. I want to hear about the story about 2 seconds here, but Mike, can you give the listeners just an idea of the format of your show, kind of what they should be expecting to hear from you coming up in August?
Dance Time in Texas, the weekly countdown of the top Texas Red Dirt songs that are packing the dance floors all over. You'll hear new songs, rewind some older ones, and you'll find out the stories behind the songs from the artists themselves. Song rankings are based off the Texas Country Music Chart and the Traction Texas Chart, and they're the officially recognized charts of the Texas Country Music Association. So basically, you'll hear about the song, you'll hear interviews from the artist, you'll hear funny stories about life on the road, and if you ever want some long distance dedication, send me a message and I'll say something or say it to you.
That's great. I know I'm looking forward to it. We are, just to get this out of the way, you guys probably are noticing this already. We're already kind of slowing down the promos because Mike's show is going to take near the same show spots as the Texas Country Music Countdown. We are discontinuing it. No hard feelings to Kenny Schnebley, who's been doing it. It's a great show. Certainly still have a lot of respect for him and everything like that. We just felt, as we were talking, that Mike's show would fit a little bit more into what we're doing because, especially Saturdays, we really want you guys to have a great time. If you're heading out to the bars, heading out to friends in the car, take Mixed Country 106 along with you. And we really wanted Mike to be a part of our Honky Tonk Saturdays. And it just seemed like a better fit. And we know that because they're two countdown shows, we didn't want them to kind of compete. So we did have to make a decision based on feedback. And again, we listened to you guys, the listeners, on this, that Mike's show was going to be a little bit better. It's only an hour long. I know Kenny's was 2, but I think you're going to be able to cram a lot in there. We were really impressed. As you said, you got a lot of interviews in that you do with the artist. But all right. So
one other thing, though, you'll also find out where some of the artists are playing. So if you happen to be in a town, so, for example, if you're going to be in Nashville, there's some Texas artists that are playing there. If you're going to be in Montana, there are going to be some shows in Mountain City, Montana as well. So you'll be able to find out where they're playing.
Beautiful. And that's really good. That's definitely something a little bit different. I know we try to do a little bit of that too. We typically stick with like the bigger artists in that, just a little bit easier to find. But Mike's got the we used to say this when I was younger. He's got the 411 on that. Nobody says that anymore. But
but here's the thing. When I talk about where they're playing, I'm not talking when they're playing music festivals. I'm talking where are the honky tonks and dive bars that they're playing.
Right.
For example, to a friend, Jarrett Ray Reddick, and he's got a song out called Royal Family. And he rolls around from bar to bar in his van with his band. But what a lot of people don't realize, he's the lead singer for a 90s punk band called Bowling Pursuit. And they just got off a tour in Europe. And it's one thing to see Bowling Pursuit in a stadium with 50,000 people, but it's another to see Jarrett roll up into a dive bar of 34 people and walk up and sing karaoke with you.
Yeah, no, Jarrett is a good friend of us. We've had him on the show before. We love his music, and of course his album that he did in the news. I guess it's not so new anymore, but the song "Royal Family." There's also going to be a remake of his hit song for Bowling for Soup called 1985. That
Yes.
one's getting redone, and so has it been released yet, Mike? Do you know? I told him
No.
to let me know. Has not been released.
You know what's fun is he's been known to go into little dive bars or karaoke, and he'll get up there and he'll just sing somebody, and he'll have them play 1985, and they won't realize that's actually the guy from the band singing it with him.
Yeah. I asked him, I said, your voice, because he's a rock singer first, right? That's where he's known for. But then he goes and sings, country. And I asked him, I said, does your voice change? Do you do a different tone? And he's like, nope, same voice.
Well, there's something you're leaving out too.
What am I leaving out?
He's also the voice for Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, we noted that too. I know I put it in the video. Chuck E. Cheese, he did Phineas and Ferb too.
He did.
Yep. So
It's a funny story. As I asked him, and I told you this. I said, Jared, have you ever been to Walmart and just start talking with your wife or your kids, and all of a sudden the other little kids come running around the aisle looking for the mouse, and they see you? He shakes his head.
What do you say? Oh, he just shakes his head.
He goes,
Nice.
so, it's just a funny story.
All right, something else I wanted to touch base with you guys because I think it's a great old take on Texas country music, and I'm talking about Stars Over Texas TV, which is available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, Roku, right? All the big streaming TV providers.
It is.
And you described this earlier, Mike, and it's basically like 80s MTV, but for Texas and Red Dirt. How did you get started with that, I guess?
It's funny you ask. My show was airing in Amarillo on KDDD, and a guy named Chris Lash, who owned it, found me. And Chris used to do the television broadcasting for Vince McMahon and WWE Wrestling, so he knew TV. And he called me one day and he goes, "I love your show. I've always wanted to do an MTV style show, but for Texas music, and you know it. You think you can do it?" And I go, "We can try. Let's see." And he launched it. He did behind the scenes stuff, licensing and all that, and I did all the programming. And I was getting my artist friends like Jesse Robb Jr. and Kate Watts and all that to use their phones and just record videos and send them to me. And then God rest his soul, he got sick and he went back to Tennessee. And about the time COVID hit and he passed away. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, but I decided to run with it. And we've expanded it. And now we are actually, you can download the app in Europe as well as Latin America. And it's like MTV. It's on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV. And it's strictly Red Dirt, Texas. And we've added a new genre, Americana. So you can go on and you can click live, and it's about a 6 or 7 hour rotation. Or you can go on to click the different categories for Texas, Red Dirt, and Americana. Again, Americana would be like Tyler Childers and Jack Ryan and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I checked it out for a little bit, and it really is. It reminded me, except that I'm watching it in high definition now, but it reminded me of my old, tube TV and the old just being able to tune in, basically it just reminded me of that whole time, and the kind of static image. I'd be up late at night and MTV would be on, and there you go. You'd have just basically nothing but music, but then you'd see the videos and all of that. So if you want something to play, and especially just have on the TV and be able to kind of go around and know that you're going to be getting the best country music that's, in my opinion, ever been made, go check out Stars Over Texas. And I'm probably going to script the site, and I forgot to write the actual site down for this, but it's starsovertexas.tv. Is that right?
No, starsovertexastv.com.
Starsovertexastv.com. I thought you had the .tv.
If you just go to Roku,
Yep.
or the Fire Stick, just go where you look for the apps at the App Store and just download Stars Over Texas TV, like you would Hulu.
Right. Awesome.
It's free.
It is free. And that's the best part. And when I was listening to it, now you don't have like a lot of advertisements and stuff either, right? So that's kind of a difference.
No, and if I do, it's going to be something like made in Texas.
Right.
So like the new drink now is ranch water, which is made by Carbach out of Houston. So I might take one of the artists like Bree Bagwell or somebody, do a 3-minute tour of it and say, so how do you make ranch water? Or how do you make Republic Boots? Or like these guys here, Texas Select Beverage. And this is what I'm drinking right now. It's watermelon flavored tea. So
that sounds
it's
delicious.
Non-alcoholic. They oldest people, they make teas, coffees, TexasSelectBeverage.com.
All right.
In fact, Odie, I'm going to have them send you a sample pack.
That would be great. Oh, speaking of sending stuff, Raven, can you hand me that box over there? I'm going to have to make time for this, folks. I know we're running like over because Mike, Mike, I apologize. I didn't tell you. Yep, that box right there. Our good friends over at Generate Promotions sent us some stuff, and I wanted to show you guys this stuff real quick because it was really cool. Oh, yeah, and she hands me the card, which if you guys ever see us in public, let me switch over here to me real quick.
I love Jen and Renee. They're awesome.
Here we go. Perfect. All right, guys. So if you guys ever see us in public, I'm not going to adjust the camera for this. Ask for us for one of these cards, the QR code. We'll get you straight to our site. We have our show schedule on here. Definitely would love to pass these out to you guys. So if you ever see us, come up and say hi. But our good friends at Generate Promotions, going to hide the label. You probably can't see it through the lighting anyway, but they sent us some really cool stuff over here. I'm going to try and get through a little bit of it. They actually sent me some Cracker Jacks. So I won't go through some of that, but they sent me some goodies and some food. Just wanted to say thank you because, Mike, you mentioned this too. We work with a lot of promoters in radio so that we can get the new music to be able to play, to know what's going to be hot. And I thought I'd share some of this. I'm gonna have to put some of the stuff on the wall. It's a bunch of stickers in that. Like I got a Kinfo sticker here, and let's see.
Love it.
Yeah, Blaine Bailey. Love
new
that.
Artist.
New artist. Yep. Oh, and our good friend, I got Jarrett Ray Redding. Yes. So yeah, she sent me a very cool care package. I got magnets. I got everything else for Generate. And that's really how artists get known. So not showing a bias. We love all the promoters that send us stuff. But the good folks over at Generate Promotions, they were very kind to us to send up some stickers and stuff. I got some popcorn too. It's really cool stuff. I hope I didn't forget anybody. Oh, here we go. Will Carter. There's a new artist for you guys.
That's my buddy.
That's your buddy.
Videos out. Oceans is really good. I love that video. Oceans.
I will have to check it out. I haven't gotten too far into his music that much. I know the name of it now, but we've been checking it out. They got me some of these like cool fans too. It's all cool stuff. So thank you so much for the good folks over at Generate for sending that to us. We love you guys, and we love the artists that you guys introduce us to and promote each week. We could not do our radio show without you guys and our station. Thank you so much for all that you do, and that they're so diligent with their artists too. That's one thing I really love. And radio, we really do rely on you guys to tell us what's new, what's coming out. So, and also for being able to liaison. So, Mike, you know this as well as I do, but for our fans, when we need interviews or we ask, or want a liner from an artist because of a new album, or there's some concerts, or, sometimes even tickets, we go through the promoters, and that's how we work with the artists. So we really could not do radio without them. Mike, would you concur with that? Or do you have like some other resources that you like to use to kind of communicate with artists?
Oh, I absolutely do contact them. Jen and Ray, Tammy Millsap, she's another big one. Dylan Steen, another big promoter, because these artists pay these guys to promote their music. And so I really enjoy building that relationship with these promoters. And hey, look, I need some artists, and they'll line me up with 3 or 4, and it really helps me out.
Absolutely. Time. Yeah, no, it's great. It is kind of a secret world because you're like, well, why don't you just email the artist directly? Well, the reason we could, but we're not likely to get a reply. The reason being is they're so busy. They have, if they're not on the road or making an album, remember, artists make their money by performing and by recording and doing all the things that they have to do. And that's why they hire promoters, because they simply just don't have time to be, doing all the logistics of emails and marketing and all that it takes to get a song from being recorded from the album. If they're part of a label, they handle a lot of that type of liaison work with stations and with getting things published. A lot of them will take care of their social media, publications too. That's why we don't, and that's why it's easier to go through a promoter, because that's the promoter's job. And like Mike said, when we need an artist, when we need some lineups, that's who we contact. We keep basically a phone book, if you will, of these promoters, and we try to keep track of the artists and everything like that. So big shout out again to them. All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping up our show here. We got time for one more song here. It's called Easy Does It. Let's go with some Brooke Graham here, right here on Mixed Country 106, Honky Tonk Saturdays. Keep it click, guys. I'm going to be chatting with Mike a little bit longer on the live stream, so if you guys want to hear that, make sure you come over there and check it out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week on Mixed Country 106 and Honky Tonk Saturdays.
Now we can get to the Toby Keith story.
Dang it! I forgot. I didn't necessarily forget. I just knew I ran out of time. She actually sent me that last week, but I was out of town, so
we can do it for the live streamers.
All right, that works for me.
Extra little behind the scenes special for the fan club.
That sounds good to me. We've been actually thinking about doing that. Funny you mentioned that, because with our chart, we want to incorporate like listener votes and stuff. Which I didn't even get a chance to really talk about that. That's funny how time goes like that when you're having fun,
notes.
Right? But we can
always come back and do another show sometime.
Yeah. I'm going to talk with you about that.
I mean, because you touched on something too that is kind of dear to me when you were talking about Granger Smith wanting to do positive country music, faith-based music. Mm-hmm. But there's a whole bunch of these artists out there that do that, and I call it cross country. Joe Kelly calls it positive country. Mm-hmm. But Aaron Watson does faith-based music. Kate Watson, her dad Jesse Watson, Peyton Howie, they all play at Lone Star Cowboy Church.
Yep.
Cody Johnson, his name is Jesus, and so that's very powerful. Yeah. A lot of them play at Lone Star Cowboy Church here in Montgomery, where I go, and so that's something near and dear to me too, which I'm going to be incorporating on Stars Over Texas TV as another selection. So you have Texas Red Dirt Americana, but you'll also have positive country or faith-based country.
I think that's fantastic. We've been talking about trying to do something on our station on Sundays. I need to check out at least one of the. You sent me their website. It was Montgomery something. Oh my gosh, I had it up earlier too. Hold up. I am terrible. I've got a bad short-term memory. But yeah, you sent me the site earlier today, and I thought I had it. Yeah, here we go. LoneStar.tv. And I was going to check out one of their services, but I think that would be great. Sorry, you guys probably can't see it on my phone. But yeah, LoneStar.tv. It's basically a cowboy church, right?
It is a cowboy church. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
It's not your traditional. It's a cowboy church, and Randy's a cowboy. But they just got it's called a rodeo Bible camp. And where they took all the kids there, and the parents.
KMXC, Mixed Country 106. Thank you for listening to the preceding broadcast. KMXC is a registered call sign for the National Association of Digital Broadcasters and the International Radio Uniform Call Sign. This broadcast production may not be retransmitted without explicit prior written permission. For comments and questions, please visit our website at mixedcountry106.com. Thank you.
And I can mute that now. We are not live anymore as far as like there. So it's, you guys probably didn't know this, but so I was actually sending Mike a little bit of music just so he could hear what's on air. But I have to block it for you guys on live stream because, well, copyright strikes and can't play copyrighted music. But anyway, so yeah, Cowboy Church and all that. So I think I'd be interested. I'm going to check it out because I may contact like some of these, like I may even contact those guys because we've been wanting to air like a church service. My church has been a little leery because obviously they're more contemporary Christian. So, think guys.
Talk to Jesse Watson. He's my friend on Facebook.
I will reach out.
Watson's dad.
Kate Watson's dad. You said he's the worship leader there, right?
He is.
Yeah. I'll have to reach out because I think it'd be good. I think it'd be a good fit for our station. But yeah, it is a little bit hard for a contemporary Christian music church, like a lot of them, to really have like cowboy music. But one of the things I wanted to share with you guys, even though we haven't been able to take advantage of it yet, we are members or we do support the, what would you call it? The TCMA subdivision for Christian music. Is it its own organization or is it still just bundled under the TCMA?
Yep, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of it too, because I pay like a little extra money a month, my dues and all that, to support that I guess subset of.
It might be the positive country side of it.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's
Might
called the
be.
Texas Christian Country Music Association. I thought they like named it. I'll look. This is the trouble with me doing things on the spot in a live stream because you still want to be correct, but then you're like, well, you're second guess yourself. Okay. So we're overtime now. We'll call this the live stream overtime. Mike, let's hear about the Toby Keith story that you had clear back when Should Have Been a Cowboy was out.
Okay, well, there are some stories that I can tell, and there's some stories that I shouldn't tell, and this one's going to fall like right smack in the middle of it. So here we go. Back in the 90s, I was doing work with the record labels and exposing new artists to the nightclubs. And there was this show called Mercury Triple Play. If you go to YouTube, just YouTube it, Mercury Triple Play, and you can see a little bit of what it was like in the 90s. And it was Shania Twain, Toby Keith, and another artist by the name of John Brannon. And at the time, Toby had the song Should Have Been a Cowboy, and Shania had the song out called What Made You Say That. And John Brannon was known as the California Kid. He was really new, and I don't really remember his song. But anyway, it was like the last show of the tour, and it was at Midnight Rodeo in Spring, Texas. So afterwards, I'm on Toby's bus, and I'm doing tequila with him and Shania. And we're just talking about what, it's fun, it's great, And then John Brannon walks on with this guy, and he was kind of flamboyant. And now, granted, we'd been drinking tequila, and Shania's just sitting there and looks over like, what? And Toby goes, who's that? And John goes, that's my boyfriend. And Toby goes, get off my bus. And he goes, what? He goes, he's serious. And so back then, that really wasn't, that was kind of frowned upon back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And so that's why you know Toby Keith, and that's why you know Shania Twain, and that's why you've never really heard of John Brannon. But if you go to YouTube and you type in Mercury Triple Play, you should be able to pull up the video to see more about that story. So at the end of the video, you'll see where they're knocking on a hotel room, and John Brannon opens a hotel door, and at the end of it, he says, I told you to leave. Don't ever come back or I'm calling the cops. And people were going, what's that about? Well, the behind the scenes story was he got kicked off the tour for trying to bring his boyfriend on Toby Keith's bus.
Wow. And you're right. It was a different time, different place. Very rarely in those days, I think there's one song that sort of touched on that. Do you remember? It's an old kind of movie, or it was based on. There was a movie with it, but the thing was from a group called Pirates of the Mississippi.
I do.
And the song calls I'm trying to think of the lyrics now off the top of my head. Raven might help me out here too. Feed Jake, that's right. Was the name of the song. I like the song, but it did kind of touch a little bit on some of that taboo subject back then. I'm gonna look up the lyrics so I don't screw it up, because if I had the melody in my head, I could probably sing it.
If you get an ear pierced, some will call you gay.
Yeah. If you get an ear pierced, some will call you gay. But if you drive a pickup, you must be straight.
Everybody's like a sewer, bums and hookers everywhere.
Yeah, that was in the second verse.
Yeah.
but yeah, so that was kind of the thing with that, and I don't. So back then, that I don't know if that was ever like a #1 song, but it was on radio.
BJ was a good song. It was more of those. It was pushed through CDX Nashville at the time of Country Club Promotions. It was more of a nightclub song, and I think because of the controversial lyrics, most mainstream radio kind of shade away from it.
Yeah, but I mean, it was played. I do remember station I used to listen to out of Memphis, Froggy 94, as a kid. They played it. I don't know that it was played heavily, but they did play it.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of one of those things, and so now it's a little bit more. I'm trying to think of more specific, but I'm sure if you listen to Nashville country, you find a little bit more where, of course, homosexuality and things like that are accepted and all of that. Now, on our show, we've never really shied away that we don't judge individuals, but we're not afraid to share, our Christian values and beliefs and all of that. And we don't ever really judge an artist or a song based on, those underlying characters, but we do, always mention, and actually I forgot to do it on the show this week, bad me, about alcohol and things like that we believe, drinking isn't the sin, but being drunk is.
Randy at Cowboy Church brings up a point. One of his things he'll say is, love the sinner, hate the sin.
Absolutely. Yep.
And what you do, and it doesn't matter what you are or who you are. What matters is your behavior and if you act appropriately or inappropriately.
Yeah.
And what is, you might feel like you want to do something, but what's it going to do in the wrong situation? And, you could talk about a guy dressing in drag going into a redneck bar.
Yeah.
But what happened if I were to wear a Confederate flag into a hip hop bar?
Yeah.
I'm asking for trouble.
Absolutely.
It's inappropriate and it's disrespectful for that sort of setting.
Yep.
My opinion, and everybody's got an opinion, but when I'm in your house, I'm your guest and I respect your house rules. When I go to Mexico, I put on the serape and I drink tequila and I dance the La Bamba.
There you go. You cater your behavior to those around you that, are showing you the hospitality. You don't push yourself onto others. You are free to make your own decisions, but it's when you start shoving it at other people and that those people don't agree with you or are going to have an issue with you, or like you said, it's going to cause a problem. Like you mentioned, I really shouldn't be going in there, like you said, with a Confederate flag or something referencing Robert E. Lee or things like that into a pop culture
in a hip hop bar.
In a hip hop bar, or most really nearly all college campuses. And apparently I can't have my Confederate flag when I go to a NASCAR race either. So but and
you can have Budweiser.
You can have a Budweiser there. Yeah. Oh. Mike, have you heard? I don't know if you have, but you should hear the promo that we got running since we went commercial free about Crud Light. We had our good friend Steve Warren voice it, and it was really a fun one to do because we pretty much just a big parody off the Bud Light commercial. Anyway,
hey, here's one. Remember the old commercials, Real Men of Genius?
Yes.
My wife and producer here says that she does. I
Could
do
you
not.
Yes,
imagine
they
if they
played
did
it
one
on the
with
radio
that?
all the time.
Real Men of Genius.
Yes.
Maybe they should. Maybe
And it
they
was
should
like
do a
some
parody
random
with
topic.
that Delvin, whatever its name.
And the guy
Oh yeah,
would,
Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah. Maybe.
Real Men of Genius.
Real Man of Genius. There you go. I'm glad my wife does it. I don't know if you can hear her when she's talking to you, Mike. Her mic's probably a bit
I
low.
can.
Okay, cool. But yeah, there you go. I I feel so out of it right now. This is me. If I'm being honest with you guys, I'll say this now that the main show's over because I've always been this way. I am not happy with I guess you would say my performance tonight. I feel so just lost brain wise. And it's because I think I'm trying to think of what I'm going to ask Mike. I'm trying to manage the show, trying to manage time, still being engaged in the conversation. And I will tell you as a DJ that it's probably one of the hardest things that you do when you're behind the mic. It's more than just talking. There's so much prep. I probably spent a good 2 hours earlier today because I had to redo some of the things on the board back here. Here, I'll switch back over, but I had to do a couple things here on the board just to make sure that Mike's audio would be good, and also.
I'll show you one of the commercials when you're done.
All right, Raven's going to show me the commercials, I guess. But yeah, it is just so hard. And Mike, I hope I don't seem too unprofessional for you and too just not with it tonight. But I wasn't really happy myself. But I'm glad that you were on the show, and I hope our listeners got a good kick out of it. I think we might have lost Mike.
Yep.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You
Hello?
broke up. Yep. We can hear you now. You kind of broke up there a little bit. You still with me, Mike?
Nope.
There we are.
Here we are.
There we are. Cool. Thought I lost you.
Internet connection. Still with me?
Yep.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can still hear you.
There we are. Cool. No, I mean, I think you did great. I was fine with it.
Yep, I can still hear you.
Quit beating yourself up. No, I mean, I think you did
All right,
great.
I got to fix something here. We got a little bit of echoing back on you now.
No, I mean, I think you did
All
great.
right, I got to fix something here. We got a little bit of echoing back on you. That should help a little bit. I got to fix something here. We got a little bit of echoing back on you. That should help a little bit.
Okay.
Got to fix something here. We got a little bit of echoing back on you. Yeah. Are you? Hey, Mike, do you have your mic and noise suppression on now?
I should be on this mic here.
Are you? Hey, Mike, do you have your mic and noise suppression on now?
Yeah. No.
I was gonna say I'm getting a loop now from you. Do you have your mic and noise suppression on now? Yeah.
No.
I was gonna say I'm getting a loop now from you.
Okay.
Do you have your mic and noise suppression on now? Yeah. No. I was gonna say I'm getting a loop now from you.
Okay.
Do you have your mic and noise suppression on now? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you what, Mike, we're probably going to wrap up here. I do not know what Zoom is doing, but it's continually looping back everything that I say to you back into me. I do not know what Zoom is doing, but it's continually looping back everything that I say to you back into me. I do not know what all right. Zoom is doing, but it's looping back everything that I say. All right, I'm going to mute Mike here. But guys, I do want to say thanks to Mike. It looks like we're probably not going to be able to keep going with him. But I thank him so much for being with us tonight, and it was an absolute blast having him. And so we are going to be, just a reminder, folks, we are going to be airing his show beginning on August 4th at 5 p.m., and he'll be on Saturday at 5 p.m. as well. I'll bring him back on camera here just to say goodbye. But I want just thank you so much, Mike, for being a part of the show tonight and everything that you do for your show. It's fantastic. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
And you know what? Now the echo stops.
I guess we. Can you hear me now?
Yes. And there's no echo.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, I do think it's time we wrap up. You got a show to do tonight.
Yeah, I got to go to the Naked Turtle and play DJ for a bunch of karaoke Karens.
I love it. One day I'll have to come down there. I'm actually planning on being in Texas at the end of this month if everything goes right. So I'll have to hit you up then. Mike, I'll tell you what, if you want to, and now that we got this, I wanted to chat with you just real quick after the live stream. So stick around for me just about 5 minutes. But thank you guys so much for listening. And we'll see you guys probably August 5th will be our next live stream here for Mixed Country 16. So thank you guys so much. And we really appreciate